Welcome to another week of COMPSTAT Review. With me today is Andrew Robinson, crime analyst. Hey, Andrew, how's everything? How's your week? We got a decent week when it comes to crime, so I'll go right into it.
Sounds good.
So for the week to date, we look at our murders. We're 0 versus 0, as well as 28 day, and we're 0 versus 1. We haven't taken a murder year to date, thankfully. For rape, which is we've discussed, criminal sexual conduct, which is defined here in Michigan, we're 0 across the board. For the 20 day, we have 1 versus 0, and then year to date we're 6 versus 10, so we're down 40%. We look at our robberies. We have 0 robberies for the week to date. And for the 20 day, we're 1 versus 3, so we only took 1 robbery complaint for the 28 day period. That's very good, down 66%. We look at for the year today, we're 20 versus 28, so we're down 28%. That's some really good numbers there when it comes to crime reduction. Felonious assaults, we're 2 versus 1, we're up 1. And for the week today, and for the 28 day, we're 5 versus 4, we're also up 1. So we're up 25%. And for the year to date, we're 80 versus 75, so we're up 6%.
Both of our felonious assaults for this week's COMPSTAT were committed by known suspects, and both are currently open investigations with our Detective Bureau working hard to get those warrants submitted to the prosecutor and let those determinations be made there.
Yeah, and I look at the numbers, and you look at year to date, we're 80 versus 75. I mean, it's not too high, but some of it is explainable. I mean, I know there's a significant amount of them are domestic related as well. But in the future, we could break that down for the audience just to see where we're getting these assaults from and how they're being committed.
That's absolutely something I can look at putting into our sheet here. Also, as we move into the holiday season, not that I want to essentially predict crime. However, we can say that normally as we move into the holiday and festive seasons, the domestic violence and felonious assaults do tend to increase, unfortunately, as more people, and of course also with the colder weather, as people are closer together in less daylight and cramped conditions, there can be an increase in hostilities. So, but again, the numbers aren't overall too concerning when it comes to felonious assault.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you brought that up. When I was executive officer in the New York City Police Department, I used to, run the domestic violence program at one of the precincts, and one of the chiefs there was big on making sure that during the holiday season that our officers visit some domestic prone locations, meaning if you know a household that had issues, in the past, you visit them to make sure everybody's okay. It goes a long way, and that's very true. And maybe also messaging helps. Maybe we bring some messages out there, how to prevent domestic violence, and so in that nature, and outreach.
I think that's something we can also work to get up and put up on our social media profiles, is to share some numbers for domestic violence shelters or helplines. Any resource when it comes to domestic violence can be very helpful for the victims of those crimes. So,
and for burglaries, we got 1 burglary for the week to date, and then for the 28 day, we're 3 versus 7, we're down 57%, and for the year to date, we're 51 versus 60. We're down 15%.
On that burglary that we had this week, it was perpetrated by an unknown suspect or suspects. However, physical evidence was recovered during the course of the investigation by our officers, and we'll be working with the crime labs to see if we can get that analyzed and bring the perpetrator of that to justice for their crime.
Thank you. And larcenies were 0 versus 1. And we're also 0 versus 4 for the 28 day, and for the year today, we're 15 versus 12, up 25%. For auto thefts, we're even. We're 2 versus 2 for the week to date. The 20 day, we're still up significantly, 13 versus 7. We're up 85%. However, for the year to date, we are down 12%, 123 versus 140.
So 2 of our UTAs, our auto thefts that we had this week, only one was an actual case where the vehicle was taken. That was a Cadillac. It has not yet been recovered and is still under investigation. Our other was the attempted UTA that Officer Dave discussed last week. That was the one where we ended up with the 2 juvenile arrests, with the attempted UTA charges, firearms charges, and a slew of other charges. Prosecution is pending on that, and that was just excellent work by our officers, the general public, and everyone involved.
Yeah, that was a really good arrest, and we do believe that these 2 juveniles were involved in other crimes in Hamtramck. But we're grateful for the community who actually called. I think minutes later they called, they identified the person. Thankfully, their gun was recovered safely, and our officers arrested these individuals very safely, and so prevented another auto theft, which is really good job by officers and the community. And that's just another example of how the community and the police work together.
Absolutely.
And we look at overall crime. For the week today, we're 5 versus 4, just to brush on that. And then for the 20-day, we're 23 versus 25. And the year-to-date of total major crimes, we're down 9%. 295 versus 326. We'll go straight to the traffic fatalities. We're 0 for the week today, 20-day, and that 1 fatality for the year versus 1 last year. For traffic crashes, we did see a spike, and it's a continuous spike. It's been that spike for about 3 weeks now. For the week today, we're 12 versus 3, up 300%. And then for the 20-day, we're 51 versus 30, we're up 70%. For the year to date, however, we're down 7%, 404 versus 435. And this is why I think in some of the meetings I have with community members and leaders, the importance of our traffic safety program is because we want to prevent ultimately crashes and keep people safe. It's not just we're out there writing tickets. We want to prevent these crashes. As you can see, we're up significantly. I mean, 12 versus 3, 15 versus 30 for the 20-day.
And although traffic crashes and accidents can't be avoided 100%, adherence to traffic law as they are written is one of the best ways to help decrease traffic crashes, especially when you're seeing a 300% increase in 1 week. Most of that attributed to speed, distracted driving, any number of what are, traffic infractions are directly leading to the causes of these crashes. Oh,
yeah. And when I look at the reports, I do notice that some of these crash reports also, there was a ticket associated with it, meaning that one of the drivers, was in violation of a certain traffic rule. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, they correlate. I mean, people driving, recklessly, blowing the red light, going through a stop sign. I mean, doing these illegal turns. I mean, there's so many, and we look at them daily, and we look at these crash reports, and we see the cause of these collisions or crashes. You call here in Michigan is that a lot of it had to do with improper driving.
That is absolutely correct. And our normal, we also make sure to look at location data, especially when it comes to traffic crashes. Location data really helps us to pinpoint more dangerous intersections, or and help to tailor not only traffic enforcement, but because ultimately increased traffic enforcement at our problem areas will help lead to a lower percentage of crashes.
And also, we look forward to having Sergeant Mike Fidenis, who's the new traffic supervisor, traffic safety supervisor, who's going to give us a little analysis, more in-depth breakdown of the traffic program, and also give us some safety tips for the community. So we look forward to having him on our next Chief's Corner.
Excellent. Yes, Sergeant Fidenis is an excellent resource, especially when it comes to traffic law, motor vehicle code, all those sorts of things. I'm sure that'll be an exciting episode.
Yeah. Anything you want to touch on with regards to cases? Or
nothing that I want to touch on in regards to cases this week, other than I know the chief will be putting out a press release on a court matter that was closed relatively recently. So look for that coming up.
There was a recent homicide, a couple of years back. Recently, I guess the case was over. The person was, in fact, convicted. So that's really great news. Great job by the detectives. Oftentimes, the judicial segment of the criminal justice system moves slower than a lot of people would like. But ultimately, the justice is made out. Also, the Citizens Academy. I want to miss that one.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a couple of calls about the Citizens Academy, and got a lot of interested candidates as well. So we're going to start early spring. That's where we're going to go.
Yeah, you had mentioned that with the increased security that was required for the election and a lot of the just overall busyness of the city around that time, moving it back to spring was probably a much better idea to allow us to not only fine-tune the program a little bit more, but to...
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had a lot of very high-profile visits in Hamtramck. So, you know, we were very busy. Our police department was busy. And also, we want to make sure that we want to give this program the attention it deserves and make sure it's, you know, it's a first one for Hamtramck, but we want to make sure it's the right one. So
Absolutely.
we want to make sure it's
make it the best possible program it can
Correct.
be. And I know you were saying that Officer Dave would be on a future edition of Chiefs Corner discussing that with you. So also look forward to that.
Yeah. So yeah, David Damchick has been very helpful when it comes to, you know, making sure this program is successful. And he's recently gonna be assigned special assignment. So he's going to be more involved with the public information aspect as well as other special investigations, as well as other things, programs that we're going to bring out and make sure our community is, is receiving the proper police, resources that's available to them. So we're
It is
thankful for
always
that.
our goal to provide the absolute best service to the citizens of Hamtramck that we absolutely can.
Yeah. So thank you for. Like I said, we're the police department, Hamtramck Police Department. We're here to keep you safe. It's what we do. We'll see you next week. Thank you.